Hi everyone, my name is Latimer and I'm currently an occupational therapy student at Boston University completing my doctoral capstone project on yoga for Parkinson's disease. I'm very excited to get started with our class today, and I'm going to be going over some safety recommendations and our setup for the class. So first things first, before you start class today, make sure that it's an appropriate time of the day for you to exercise. So that means that you are well rested and you've taken your medication for the day to manage your symptoms. Be sure to listen to your body throughout class, and if you feel any pain or discomfort in any poses, please stop where you are and get out of the pose or try a different variation that I will show throughout the class. And if the pain continues, consult your doctor or physiotherapist for some other options. As far as our setup for class, you will need a yoga mat or just a soft, comfortable surface for you to practice on. Some of the class will be in a chair, some of the class will be on the floor. So you want it to be squishy and comfortable enough for your knees and your joints as you get down on the ground. You will need at least one chair for class today, preferably a chair without arms, but if you only have a chair with arms, that will work perfectly fine. You will want a water bottle with you, and I encourage practicing next to a wall. As you can see, I will be doing. Throughout class, I'll be showing how we can use the wall for some of these exercises. If you don't have a wall that is available, I recommend a sturdy table or a second chair. And if you know that you don't want to get on the floor today, you'll want a second chair to do some of the postures seated using the other chair instead of getting on the floor. Some other equipment that you might use, props to help increase comfort in your practice, are yoga blocks. I have two. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use a book or stack of books to bring the ground closer to you. You could use a water bottle like what I have, or even a second chair to use as a yoga block and bring the ground closer to you. I will also be using a strap throughout our class today. This is what my yoga strap looks like. If you don't have a strap, you can use a bathrobe tie, which is what I have here, or even a belt. And lastly, I have a blanket, a yoga blanket, but you can use any blanket for while we get on the floor, especially for our knees if you've had any past knee injuries. Be sure to modify physical postures as needed today, especially balancing postures. If you know that you're feeling a little bit off today, take things easy and do what feels right. I recommend practicing barefoot, but if you feel more comfortable, you can have non-slip socks or non-slip shoes on too. And lastly, if you have a mirror in front of you, that may be helpful for some visual feedback to make adjustments as needed, but it's not necessary for the class. Lastly, for safety, please make sure that there is another adult at your residence, and if you are alone, just make sure that there's somebody you could call and contact in case anything happens. And I even encourage you to have your loved ones join these classes with you to add in that social component and that social support for these virtual classes. Thank you so much, and let's get started. So getting started with our class today, we're going to have two options. This class is focused more on mobility, especially in the shoulders, chest, hips, and the back of the legs. So we're going to start in a butterfly pose. Starting with the chair, we're going to want both of our blocks close by. And we're going to stack our two blocks on top of one another on their small height, just in front of the feet here. And we can allow the feet to come on top of the blocks, soles of the feet together, knees come out. We're pressing the belly button forward to sit up nice and tall here. And I'll turn so that you can see what this looks like from the front. And what's nice about a butterfly pose is it's a great opportunity at the very beginning of our class, before we even do any breath work, to think about our pelvis and the alignment of our pelvis. So in this butterfly pose, sitting up nice and tall, we're lengthening through the spine. What can sometimes happen is we notice the lower back starts to round out. We can have our hands on our hips and almost pretend like our pelvis is a bowl of water. So we're holding this bowl of water in front of us with our hands on our hips, and we can start to lean back and pour this water out the back of the tailbone, and then coming back forward and shifting the weight forward. Maybe we start to pour water out the front and we find a little arch in the back, pouring water out the front of the pelvis and tipping it back. Just pretending like this is a bowl here, rounding out until we find center. Sitting right on the sit bones, we're lengthening up through the spine. Hands can rest on the thighs, palms down or palms up. And the other option for this pose, of course, is to do it seated, if that's what you prefer. I recommend sitting on the edge of a blanket to lift the hips to help that forward tilt to sit up nice and tall. So sitting on the edge of a blanket, soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Same options with the hands. And we're going to come into our breath work here in whatever variation we're in. So making any last minute adjustments until we can settle here. And once we've settled, we'll allow the eyes to draw closed, or maybe just soften the gaze towards the floor. Beginning to bring the attention and awareness to the breath and the body. Noticing how we're feeling today, where we're at. Noticing where we're hanging on to tension in the body. And seeing where we can let go. Let go of the racing thoughts. Letting go of anxiety, doubt, fear. All of these things that may tell us we cannot do something. But what if we tell ourselves we can? Our thoughts do not control us. They're like waves coming and going, similar with emotions, crashing on the shore and flowing back into the ocean to pass. So sticking with this theme of our class of letting go, surrendering what no longer serves us, whatever that may be, the fear, anxiety, doubt, judgment, and seeing what we can replace it with. We replace it with curiosity. We replace it with compassion and kindness. With each exhale, we're releasing anything that no longer serves us. And with each inhale, we take in what we need. And if you'd like, we're going to come into what's called box breathing, or the counting breath. And so with counts of 4, we're going to inhale in through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it at the top for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhaling out the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding at the bottom for 4, 3, 2, 1. Continuing this breath at your own pace with your own count. Inhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding at the top for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding at the bottom for 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 more rounds at your own pace. Allowing the breath to come back to its natural rhythm here. And on our next inhale, we'll start to flutter the eyes open. We're going to come into our Om chant 3 times, and we're going to move with our hands here, thinking about projecting from the diaphragm loud. Here we go. And fluttering the eyes open here. We can stay in our butterfly. We're going to come into our Om chants 5 times in a row, thinking about projecting from the diaphragm loud for everybody in the room to hear. You can keep your hands on your thighs if you'd like. I'm going to demonstrate with some movement, inhaling the arms up and exhaling, big hands reaching out where we can, and we'll chant Om on the exhale. So inhaling, reaching both arms out and up, big hands, big breath in. Four more. Inhaling, reaching up. Inhaling. Inhaling, last one. Closing the eyes if you'd like to feel any sensations. Big breath in. Shaking out the arms if you need to. We're going to bring both feet off of the blocks here. Blocks come to the side, coming to sit on the edge of our chair here. Feet are nice and firmly planted on the floor. We're lengthening through the spine here. Taking one full clearing breath, inhaling in through the nose. An open mouth, exhaling, sighing it out. We're going to start coming into some neck rolls here, warming up the body. We'll allow the left ear to fall towards the left shoulder. Then rolling chin to chest, around to the other side. And just moving between the two. Continuing with our neck rolls, you'll notice in our class today that we'll have some options for seated postures and for standing postures as well. And the beautiful thing about yoga is it really is a choose your own adventure. You get to choose with your body, your mind today, how you're feeling right now. What feels best today? Is it the time to challenge ourselves and push forward and maybe try something new that's out of our comfort zone? Or is it actually the time to pull back, be gentle with our bodies, staying humble with ourselves, not pushing ourselves past our limits? So reminding ourselves that we have the options during this yoga class. We get to choose our own practice, maybe choose our own adventure, if you'd like to say. The next time our right ear comes over towards the right shoulder, we're going to bring the right hand up and overhead so that the palm of the hand or maybe the fingertips can touch the ear. And very gently here, we're mostly just using the weight of the hand to lift up and over towards the right, planting that left shoulder down here to find that really nice stretch along the side neck. Breathing here, chin is up. And then chin towards the chest, about halfway to center. We'll bring the hand towards the back of the head. And again, thinking of lengthening up and over towards the diagonal, feeling the stretch in the back of the neck. Releasing the right hand, chin comes through center and over to the other side. From here, using our left hand this time to reach up and over. Maybe the palm touches the ear, maybe just the fingertips. And thinking of lengthening up and over. Very gentle here. We're just using the weight of the hand to help stretch. We're grounding the right shoulder down and breathing. Chin comes to chest. Hand comes to the back of the head. Releasing the hand, chin comes to center, rolling up. On our inhale, we'll shrug the shoulders tight towards the ears. And exhaling back and down, coming into some shoulder rolls. Connecting the movement with the breath here. And switching directions of our circle. And coming back to center. From here, we're going to come into, we've done hip circles in our past classes, but before we warm up our hips, we're going to warm up our trunk and chest. So I'm going to call these rib cage circles. We can widen the stance if you'd like to have a wider base of support. You can have heels in, toes out if that feels good. Hands on the thighs. And thinking about leading with the chest, leading with the heart. We'll start to press the heart towards the left corner of the mat, the left diagonal, forward towards the right, and then scooping back towards the back of the chair, the back of the mat. And just finding circles, rib cage circles here. So mostly in the chest. Maybe you kind of get the shoulders involved too, and you make it more of a flow or a wave, whatever feels best. Breathing here. And what can be really helpful with these rib cage circles is any spot that feels, ooh, that's tight in my ribs, maybe in the back body. You can always pause there and take a big, deep breath to help stretch some of those muscles, those respiratory muscles. Switching directions of our circle. And coming back to center. This time we're going to be warming up the hips. So we're going to drop the chest towards the left corner of the room, forward and down, shifting the weight into the feet. And coming up and around, coming all the way as far back as you'd like to engage the core. And switching directions. Coming back to center here, heel toeing the feet together. On our next inhale, we're going to come to our cactus arms, big hands, squeezing the shoulder blades and elbows back behind you. Chest is proud, gaze lifts, big breath in. And exhaling, rounding out. This time we're going to try and bring our forearms together, our elbows in the palms of our hands, chin towards the chest, big breath out. Inhaling, opening up. And exhaling, elbows and palms come towards each other, rounding out. Just moving between the two at our own pace. One more round. And coming back to center, shaking out the shoulders, shaking out the arms if you need. And so from here, we're going to grab our strap if we have one close by. And we're going to come into some shoulder openers here. So I like to double up my strap. I think this is a good length. But if you know that your shoulders are fairly tight, just hold the strap one layer for now and try it this way. And we're going to come into what are called cow face arms with our strap. I'm going to come to sit on the ground just so that you can see my hand placement better. So with the strap in our hands here, we're going to place the strap in our right hand and stick our right hand over towards the right. And then bending the right elbow, maybe the right palm, the strap side, can touch behind the head. And maybe we notice it doesn't go behind the head. Maybe we're just on top of the head for right now. But working towards getting that right palm to the back of our head. And what may happen is this right elbow is going to come forward. We're thinking of opening that right elbow over towards the right to open up the chest here. So once we're there, we're going to bring our left hand, palm is facing the back of the room, and bending the left elbow, back of the hand rests on the tailbone, and maybe you find the strap. Making any adjustments that you exhaling, rounding out. Moving with our own breath at our own pace here. Last one. Coming back to neutral. Left hand comes down, right arm comes down. You can shake out the arms if you need to, shake out the shoulders, roll out the neck. Find anything that feels good here until we're ready to switch sides. And I'll come back to the same position so you can see me a little bit better. This time our strap is going in our left hand. Left hand comes out to the side. And we'll go ahead and bring that left palm, the strap side, towards the back of the head. Left elbow reaches out towards the side. And from here, we can bring that right arm and swim it. The back of the hand is on the tailbone. And maybe you can find that strap. Slowly meeting back at our neutral spine when we're ready. Releasing the strap on the thighs. Rolling out the shoulders and the hands if you need to. We're going to come into one last shoulder opener before our sun salutations, or one breath per movement. And so we're going to go ahead and bring the strap by the tailbone so that we can reach both hands back behind us. And maybe our hands are further apart, maybe they're closer together. And from here on our inhale, we're rolling the shoulders back, chest is proud. And exhaling, leading with the chest. Maybe the chest comes to rest on the thighs. We'll start to fold forward here. The weight is in the feet. Our head is heavy here. And maybe we'll start to lift the strap back behind us as far as it goes. We're opening up the front of the shoulders and the chest here, thinking of lifting the strap up behind us towards the sky. Lifting the strap towards the sky, or our fist even. I know this isn't easy. Maybe we're reaching towards the back of the room. Our shoulders are a little bit tighter, and breathing here in these poses where we may clench our teeth or furrow our eyebrows, seeing where we can release tension to find that balance of ease and effort. One more breath in, reaching that fist up. And exhaling, releasing the strap down, slowly coming up to sit. We'll bring the strap down towards the edge of our mat. We're going to start coming into our sun salutation. So one breath per movement, thinking of this as a moving meditation here. So blocks come on their tall height in front of the feet. We're on the edge of our seat here, so our feet are nice and planted on the floor. Inhaling, reaching both arms out and up, big hands. And exhaling, lifting up and out of the hips, folding forward, head hangs heavy. Inhaling, halfway lift, extending through the spine, hands on the blocks. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, sweeping both arms out and up, right knee comes to lift. And exhaling, knee towards the forehead, rounding out. Inhaling, reaching up, right foot plants. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, sweeping both arms out and up, left knee lifts. And exhaling, knee to nose, rounding out. Inhaling, reaching up. And exhaling, hinging at the hips, forward fold. We'll pause in our forward fold here and maybe shake out the head no and nod the head yes, helping release any tension in the neck. And from here, we'll slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time until we meet in our seat. And from our seat, we're going to come into our chair flow or our sit to stance. If you'd like to bring a block in between the thighs to help remind your quads and your outer hips to hug towards midline, you can. But feet are hips distance here. Hands can start at the edge of the seat, or you can have them on the hips or hands to heart center, whatever feels best. And we'll start to shift the weight forward into the feet, maybe so much so that we're able to lift the hips off of the chair just an inch or two, drawing the belly button in here so we don't have that arch in the lower back. We're tucking our pelvis. Shoulders back and down, chest is proud, and just sending the hips back into the seat when we need, coming to hover. The gaze is ahead of us. And maybe we're still hovering, or maybe we're coming all the way up to powerfully stand through both legs. Seeing where we can slow down on the way back to our seat, using gravity to help strengthen the legs. Exhaling, sending the hips back, seeing where we can pause here before we sit all the way down. Last one, inhaling, shifting forward, coming all the way to powerfully stand. And exhaling, arms at our sides. We're going to meet behind our chair for our mountain pose. Rolling the hips back and down here, standing up nice and tall. Finding that neutral spot with our pelvis, that bowl of water again. Engaging the core. Squeezing the kneecaps to lift the thighs. From here, we're going to come into our warrior two. So we're going to come to stand to the left side of the chair. Maybe you feel more comfortable practicing some of our standing poses next to a wall instead, which is perfectly fine. And all of these can also be done seated. I'm going to face you so that you can see me a little bit better. So we're to the left of our chair here. We're going to bring our right foot almost in line with the seat. Our toes are facing towards the chair here. And then we're going to take a big long step towards the left with our left foot. The bigger the better. But if you notice here that you're feeling a little bit off balance, do this in front of a wall so that you can either use the wall or you know it's behind you if you do lose your balance here. Again, knowing our limits, listening to our body and how we're feeling right now, and honoring that. So from here, our back toes are perpendicular with the front right foot. We're coming into our warrior two. So we'll start to slowly bend through the right knee. And we want it to be that the right knee is stacked on top of the ankle. One way that we can see that is we can see the big toe just on the inside of the knee here. And maybe the knee is kind of hitting the chair. That's perfectly fine. But noticing if we're going over the ankle with the knee or if we're not bending enough. We want it directly on top. We can use a mirror here to help. And what happens is this left hip wants to come forward. We're thinking about opening up that left hip, lifting up through the spine. Maybe the hand rests on the chair, or maybe when we're ready, we can reach both hands out. Gaze is through the top middle finger. 2 full breaths here in our warrior two, relaxing the shoulders back and down. And what are we saying to ourselves in these more challenging poses? Can we change the script? Can we change our repetitive thoughts and reminders, limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves? On our next inhale, we're going to start to straighten that front knee. And we're going to come into Trikonasana triangle pose. So reaching forward with the right hand, reaching. Maybe you're able to plant your right hand on the chair, and maybe you even need to scoot it just a little bit forward so it's under your shoulder more. And inhaling, lifting that left arm up towards the sky. Trikonasana triangle pose. We're thinking of opening the left hip and the left shoulder blades, pretending to be between 2 panes of glass here in our triangle pose. Gazes to the bottom hand or up to the sky. And using the core here, lifting with the left hand, coming all the way to rise. And we'll go ahead and slowly heel toe our feet together. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. And we'll come over to the other side when we're ready. So from here, we're on the right side of our chair this time, or maybe we're next to a wall. We're going to bring the left toes underneath the chair, pointing towards the left side of the room. And big step out towards the right here. Right toe. Triangle pose, thinking of opening the right hip and the right shoulder, the whole right side body up towards the sky to be between 2 panes of glass. And playing with how much weight we need in this left hand on our chair here. Now on our next inhale, lifting with the top arm to engage the core. And exhaling, hands at our sides, heel toe the feet together, shaking out the arms and the legs here. And we're going to come in front of our chair. for one more standing pose, more of a stretching pose, and then we'll come onto our mats. So from here, we're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So we're in front of our chairs, and we have our feet off of the mat. You can have the feet parallel with one another, or if it feels better, you can always have heels in, toes out. And we're going to go ahead and bring the hands on the seat here to come into a bit of a stretch. So we're thinking of pressing the sit bones, pressing the hips towards the back of the room, and lengthening the crown of the head towards the chair. And maybe we feel a stretch here. Maybe we want to come onto our forearms and breathing into the back of the legs. We can always bring a block on the seat to rest your head on as a pillow. 4 breaths here. Right arm. Exhaling to release. Inhaling left arm. Exhaling to release. Heel toeing the feet together from here. We're going to meet all the way onto our mat in a tabletop position. So I always like to have a blanket underneath my knees here. And you will want your blocks close by. All of our floor poses can be done on the chair as well. So you can remain seated. And we're coming into this tabletop position. And from our tabletop position, finding any movements that feel good here, maybe finding some circles in the hips, coming forward to warm up the wrists. We're gripping the mat with our finger pads and knuckles here, and switching the directions of our circle. And coming back to that neutral spine, we're going to come into a twisting table. So this works on rotation in the spine, a twist, but it also works to open up the shoulders. And we're going to use both of our blocks here. And we'll start with them on their low height. One is directly underneath the face and one is straight ahead of it. And we're going to rest our left hand on the top block. Inhaling, our right arm comes out to a T. And exhaling, we're threading the needle. We're threading this arm through to where the shoulder falls towards the floor, the back of the hand falls towards the floor. And this is where you can make any adjustments that you need. Hips are high. Maybe you press that left arm with the block to straighten the left arm up overhead. Maybe your right arm is not fully coming down to the ground and you have both blocks on their taller height, and maybe you're just coming down to an elbow and you're focusing on opening up the chest to look through the sky underneath that left armpit here. You can play with maybe even having that front block on its tallest height to help you open up the left shoulder. So whether you're seated, whether you're on your right forearm, or whether you're reaching all the way through, whatever this looks like, taking 2 full breaths. And slowly walking the left hand back on its small block. We'll inhale, the right arm comes back out to a T. Then exhaling, right hand comes down, shaking out the shoulders if you need to, resetting until we're ready to switch sides. So from here, with both blocks on their smaller height, we'll place the right hand on the front block, inhaling, left arm comes out to a T this time. And exhaling, threading the needle, threading that left arm through the hole, palms up. And maybe you pause here on your forearm and you can lift that top block to its highest height and just focus on turning and opening up towards the right, gazing through the right armpit to look at the sky. Maybe you're reaching all the way through, head comes to a block. Turning the chest up and over to the right, breathing here, keeping the weight even in both knees, keeping the hips squared. 2 more breaths. Bringing that right block down if you need to, pressing through the right hand, left arm comes out to a T. And exhaling, left arm presses down, blocks come to the side. We're going to meet all the way onto our bellies. So maybe shifting the blanket forward underneath the chest. Forearms come in front and we rest. And starting to bring the hands by the chest here. We're going to come into our cobra pose. And to help the shoulders here open up and help the shoulder blades squeeze together, externally rotating the shoulders, I think it's helpful to turn the hands so that your index finger is pointing towards the front of the mat. Just a slight diagonal, turning the pinkies outward a tiny bit so our pointer or index finger is pointing forward. Hands by the chest, inhaling, pressing into the hands, lifting up the heart, lifting up the gaze. We're squeezing the elbows back together behind us. And exhaling, laying yourself forward and long, extending through the spine. 2 more, matching this movement with the breath. Inhaling to press up. And exhaling, laying yourself forward and down. Inhaling, opening up the heart. And exhaling, laying yourself forward and down. Last one, inhaling to press up. Holding here, we're pressing in through the tops of the feet, wrapping the shoulders back behind us, squeezing the shoulder blades together, gazes up. And exhaling, laying yourself forward and down. Forearms come back in front of the face and head rest on them as a pillow. And from here, we're going to press ourselves back into a child's pose. So you can have the knees out wide, big toes come to touch. And we have some options for our blanket. We can have our blanket on top of the thighs and have the belly pressing against it. It's really nice for digestion. If your hips are a little bit tighter, you can always have the blanket on top of the calves instead. Hips come to rest on the blanket. Reaching the arms forward. Maybe you still want the blanket underneath the knees if your knees are more sensitive. You can always bring a block too here in our child's pose underneath the head. And just breathing here. Stretching the arms out ahead of us, forward, palms down. Or maybe if we want to give the shoulders and arms a little break, we can have our arms at our side, palms up. And just breathing here. Taking one more breath here on our inhale. We can stretch the arms forward, seeing where we can lengthen and create space in the spine. And exhaling, slowly starting to shift the weight forward, coming onto the hands and knees, moving the blanket if we need. We'll sit to one side, swing the legs around, and meet all the way onto our backs. You can always bring the blanket underneath the head or neck for support. You can inhale both knees into the chest here and start to draw circles with the knees to massage the low back. Switching directions of our circle. Planting both feet down, we'll bring the right foot on top of the left knee, coming into a figure four position, thinking of pressing that right knee out towards the right. We're flexing both feet. Maybe we stay here, maybe we reach through that keyhole and grab underneath the left thigh, flexing both feet here. And slowly releasing both feet down, shaking out the legs if we need, and then switching sides. So this time the left ankle comes to rest on top of the right knee. We're pressing that left knee out towards the left. Breathing here. And stay here or reach through that keyhole and grab underneath the right thigh. Still thinking of opening that left knee out towards the left, flexing both feet. Breathing here, noticing where we're carrying tension in the body and sending the breath there. From here, releasing both feet back down onto the mat. We're going to bring both arms out to a T and just start to windshield the knees, both sides. And from here, we're going to start to lead with the left knee to open up until the right knee starts to follow. You'll feel this in the inner thighs, then allowing the right knee to drive all the way towards the floor. Inhaling, opening the right knee, coming into like a butterfly. And then the left knee drives down towards the floor, working on our hip mobility here. Just moving between the two. The next time our knees drop over between the right side, arms come out to a T, the gaze is over the left shoulder for a twist. And bring the knees over towards the left, gaze to the right. And coming back through center here. We're going to come into our facial expression exercises. So from here, we're going to start to find a comfortable position. You can have the blanket underneath your head, or I wanted to emphasize that since we have the chair close by, you can use the chair to elevate the legs by putting both legs up on the chair like so. And you can always bring the blanket or block underneath the head here. The elevation is great for improving circulation, activating our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest. So this is great to do before bed. You can do legs up against a wall or on a chair. Arms fall wherever comfortable. And focusing on the breath here, we're going to come into our facial expression exercises. Taking a big deep inhale in through the nose. And exhaling, we're going to blubber the lips. Inhaling. And from here, we're going to start to bring the tongue around the inside of the mouth, feeling the teeth here, feeling the inside of the gums and mouth. And on our next inhale, we're finding a big smile, exaggerating where we can, showing all of our teeth, squinting the eyes, squeezing the apples of our cheeks, and exhaling to relax. Inhaling, big smile, and exhaling to relax, seeing where we can exaggerate here. Inhaling, big smile, and exhaling, relax. Seeing where we can grow in the face, inhaling, smiling, exhaling to relax. Last one, make this our best one. Inhaling, big smile, and exhaling to relax. This time on our inhale, big surprise, open mouth, raising the eyebrows, big eyes. And exhaling to relax. Inhaling, big eyes, opening the mouth up wide, raising the eyebrows. And exhaling to relax. Inhaling, big surprise, opening up. And exhaling to relax. Starting to notice where we can release tension in the face, in the mouth, in the jaw, and the space between the eyebrows. We're coming into our final relaxation or shavasana here. So as we allow the body to settle, we can draw the eyes closed or soften the gaze. Starting to bring our awareness back into the breath, flowing in and out of the body. Letting go of anything that no longer serves us, that fear, anxiety, doubt. With each exhale, just letting go of what no longer serves us. And with each inhale, we bring in what we need: empathy, courage, compassion, honesty, kindness, acceptance. And seeing where we can do this in our yoga practice, but also maybe throughout life. What can we exhale to let go? What can we inhale to invite in? Coming back to the breath. If you have more time here at home, I recommend 5 to 10 more minutes in this final relaxation or shavasana. Otherwise, if you're with me, we'll start to wiggle the toes and wiggle the fingers, maybe rock the head side to side, starting to bring some awareness back into the body, into the environment. When we're ready, we'll inhale our right arm up overhead. Whether our feet are on the chair or the floor, our knees fall over towards the right side, coming onto our side, using the arm as a pillow, and pausing here.
Using that top hand to press ourselves up to a comfortable seat. As always, at the end of class, just taking a moment to thank ourselves for carving the time out of our days, for our minds and bodies throughout this practice, and taking the time to honor our bodies for all it allowed us to do throughout this practice today. The light within me honors the light within each of you. Namaste.